Hello, Facebook. Ashley here, your sustainable health practitioner, your spiritual guide, your intuitive guide, whatever context you'd like to see me in. I don't have a specific title for myself that I'm attached to. But all things health, sustainability, physical body, energetic body, health. So I wanted to come on and talk today about breaking cycles of perfectionism, because you can really find more freedom and more energy in your perfectionist qualities that you may be carrying around than you may realize. Because, and I see this come up so much for my clients, I see it come up especially in women, I see it come up in myself. These are some ways that I've been able to break the pattern myself. Hello, Paula. Yes, thank you for the beads. I love them. I love them. I love them. So thank you so much. Yes, I was gifted these beads, and I love this little portal right here of rose quartz. So anyways, ways that I've broken patterns of perfectionism in myself, and then ways that I've helped clients do the same. A lot of times when I start working with people, it's their perfectionist qualities are centered around linear thinking. So that's when we're thinking kind of black, white, right, wrong, good, bad, and we're in judgment of ourselves. We're in comparison mode. So if you ever get on the internet, which I know you do, and sit around and scroll and compare yourself to everyone, like sometimes it can be like, oh, I want to see what others are doing, others that are similar to me, but then it can perpetuate itself down a dark hole. So definitely stopping yourself from doing things like that. But I think what I see most often is where people identify so strongly with being a perfectionist. So it's a story that they have, and all these qualities are stories of our past usually, and that's all fine and good. At one time it served us. At one time, so you did not come into this world as a perfectionist, most likely. Maybe you did. I do remember with myself, there were some early qualities of being a perfectionist, but I know for sure I likely didn't come in like that. They were learned, and I know where they were learned. I won't get into that right now, but they are a learned behavior. Perfectionism is a learned behavior. It's conditioning. It's a pattern that's running in your system. So the beautiful thing about having that awareness is that you don't have to identify with it. You don't have to let it define you. You can choose from the role of an observer how perfectionism serves you, and then how it's maybe keeping you in a pattern of procrastination, how it's holding you back, how it's keeping you from showing up fully. Because there are more positive qualities of it, and there are the more, ones that can keep us back for longer than we'd like. Now, when we're feeling held back, that's not always a bad thing. Sometimes it's a good thing, but when you notice that it's holding you back for so long, and excuse Sanders, his drinking, because I know that it's loud, and I did not put my earbuds on, but when you notice that it's holding you back for far too long, that's when it's really not healthy. So having a gauge on where you are on the scale of 1 to 10 in perfectionism. So when you take the observer role of what's going on, you can keep yourself from, like I said, the judgment, the comparison, controlling everything, trying to manage everything, and really embrace the parts of perfectionism that serve you. And embrace the parts of perfectionism that maybe don't serve you, because you really have to get all parts on board for you to have that breakthrough, that competitive advantage that you're really looking for when you're feeling stuck. Perfectionism at its core is really fear. So it's you're in your mind trying to figure out all the ways to do something, again, controlling it, trying to manage it, judging it, analyzing it, all those things. And that really disconnects us from our body, that disconnects us from our heart. And also, those are the parts that you want on board when you're making a decision or taking action from a place of your higher self, I will say. We have fears of both failure and success. But what I will say too is that I think it's fear of success that's far greater than fear of failure. We all know what it's like to fail, but what if you could succeed at the level at which you dream of succeeding? That's freaking scary. I feel like that's a lot scarier than failing. Like failing's like, oh yeah, I fall down and I get back up again. That actually, check in, since I'm talking about this right now, and if you're listening, especially to the replay, and you can drop a comment below. But when you think of fear of success and fear of failure, how does that show up in your nervous system, in your body? Like, does one feel like, oh yeah, I could totally handle that, it's not a big deal, and the other one's like, yeah, fear of success. So for me, fear of success is a heightened response in my physical body. Like the energy behind it is like, oh yeah. Because I tend to dream big, think big, and very growth oriented. So kind of those ideas there. Hello, Mia, good to see you. That fear of success is much higher for me than fear of failure. So check in with your system, check in with your body to see which one is stronger for you, which one has more of an energetic charge for you. And underneath that is always the idea of, am I ready for this? Am I worthy of it? Am I good enough for it? So it always comes down to, our enoughness. That's underlying the core fear of perfectionism. So I shared at the beginning that what I see with clients and what I see even in myself around perfectionism is we get into this linear thinking mindset of right, wrong, good, bad. And that's where with health or fitness, we can get ourselves in a cycle of disempowering thoughts and feelings. It's like, what is the right food to eat? What is the right exercise to be doing? What if I don't do it on this? We start, and this can be in any area of life, but we start like micromanaging everything. So how do we break out of this? Well, really check in with what I told you about that energetic charge that comes up for you around fear of failure, fear of success, so you can know kind of where you are and step into that observer role, so that you can stop identifying with being a perfectionist. Like, even stop telling yourself that. Stop telling other people that, like, hey, I'm a perfectionist, if you're somebody who walks around and says that, or if you're saying it in your head. Get more in a space of playing with it. Like I was sharing at the beginning, how is this working for me and how is it not working for me? Because it is a choice of whether or not you're letting it define you or letting it run the show in your life. You don't have to let it run the show. And being in the observer role allows you to take charge more than just like letting the program run and not being aware of it running. And sometimes that will happen. And when it does, because something can trigger us into it, a situation, an experience can trigger us into running that program. And once you realize that it's there, the more awareness or more light you shine on it, then you can shift out of it more quickly. So here are a few other ways of when you are a perfectionist or identify with it, that you can move through it more quickly. So knowing your vision, I think, is so very important. And that can be your vision or your why. Are you choosing something because it's going to make you be seen a certain way or look a certain way, or because people want you to do it or expect it of you? Because perfectionism and people pleasing also run parallel to one another. So when you know your vision and are clear on that vision, and I think vision is something you check in with over and over again. It's not like a concrete thing. The more that you can let things be fluid in your life and in your world, the happier you're going to be, and the easier it is going to be for you on the road of achieving whatever result that you're looking to achieve. The more fixed you are, the fixed mindset that you have, that things need to be a certain way, and are really black and white, you're going to come up against so much more resistance along the way. So deciding your vision, being clear on it, choosing it every day, playing with it every day, and really noticing, am I doing this? Is it in my highest and best? Is this really what I want to be stepping into? Or am I doing this because others expect it of me? So that's the second one, observing, and then knowing your vision. And then the third, because I love imagination, if you guys have listened to any of my content, imagination always comes up. So imagine that you have a plug in your head, since a lot of the perfectionism happens in the mind, or the ideas of perfectionism happen in the mind, that you have a plug of perfectionism in and you unplug it. You can close your eyes to do this, to visualize it, unplugging. So you're turning off that circuitry, and you can do breathing with it. You can do imagine unplugging, and then you can take a big breath in through your nose and then out of your mouth, and actually imagine like a clear white light kind of going in a circle between your head and your heart, and create that cycle with your breath. Another piece that you can use here with imagery is having an alter ego, having an avatar. That's what I love to work on with the inner athlete inside my programs. Because when we have an avatar or persona, an alter ego, we can make that part of ourselves. So the perfectionist is just a part of yourself. Then this alter ego, who is more brave than the part of yourself that's running the perfectionism program, you can imagine or speak to or communicate with that part, that aspect of self, to see what they would do. What would they do? Or what would she do? Or what would he do? So the more that you can play and imagine in that space, then you can receive guidance upon what the next best step for you is, instead of getting, again, caught in that cycle of perfectionism, of running a particular program in the body-mind. The fourth one is checking in with the mistakes that you're making, like allowing mistakes to happen, allowing pivots to happen along the way. Like I was sharing, you want to be very fluid in your process versus very fixed. Our mind tends to get us in a fixed process, or a fixed thought process. So the more fluid that you can be with yourself and with allowing mistakes to happen, because mistakes actually help you make the next step, or decide, is this actually still the path that I want to take, or do I need to pivot? Being really honest with yourself here about how you're feeling, about the steps you're taking, how it's working out for you, and whether or not you're at a point of, hey, this is still in my highest excitement, or you know what, it's not anymore, and I'm gonna change. I'm allowed to. I'm an adult. I'm allowed to change my mind. Because the perfectionist definitely comes from a place of our inner child. So any wounding that we had as a child where maybe we expressed ourselves and we were told that wasn't okay. So that's where perfectionism can come in. I'm not going to jump into all that right now because there's so much I could share there, but it's something we learned, like I shared at the beginning, and we don't have to let it define us. So if you listen to this in full, I want you to share with me what was the most powerful step that you want to take to break perfectionism as it shows up in your world. I think it shows up for all of us at different points of time, especially when an experience or stress triggers it to start running in our system. So you can just tell me which one was the most powerful for you. I'd love to hear. And the other thing I want to leave you with, if anything I shared here really spoke to you, feel free to reach out to me, and I'm happy to help guide you in any way that I can. Also, my program, the Inner Athlete Advantage, is starting October 1st. So enrollment is open now, and that is my program it's my foundations program that brings you back home to yourself and your body. So really working on body confidence, food freedom, and mindset mastery around your health, around your fitness. So if that's something you want to know more about, you can either drop your favorite emoji below or reach out. But thank you for being here with me today. I am so grateful for you. And that is all, guys. Bye.